get a new model. About to slay another canvas with an underpainting, put it in the lineup. I got some others in rotation, never waiting for the paint to dry. Push it to the side, move to the next, never break your stride. Keep your drive, never keep your flame aside. Nourish it and let it shine, leaving speechless like a pantomime. Performing out in Anaheim, a crowd pleaser every time, every rhyme pan fried. Put the heat to the lyrics, I got the weakest gimmicks, plus your team will get defeated in the keep it simple, mate. Fresher than some cellophane. I'm the prince with a palette, always ready for a challenge. Cause these haters come with malice, so I try to keep it balanced. Art and education, scars and lacerations. I lack patience, you lack common sense. I'm concentrating on my composition, following my intuition. I'm the prince with a palette, always ready for a challenge. Cause these haters come with malice, so I try to keep it balanced. Scars and lacerations, I lack patience, you lack common sense. I'm concentrating on my composition, following my intuition.
And y'all get to some age and you still like them young. You like You like the same age girls I like.
Oh yeah.
Right. When you get to a certain age,
I'm getting old, but my eyesight still young.
Right. Okay, and with that, you gotta uphold a certain way because you old and sloppy.
You get one or the other.
Right.
Young and sloppy or old and in shape.
Or old in shape.
Exactly. So you gonna get old and in shape. Women old and in shape. Women.
No.
Exactly. So like you, man, y'all.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4. We've got millions of free Child Place holidays available, with 22 kilograms of baggage included. But now, with Jet2 holidays, package nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, you can save
What do you call a black guy flying a plane? How about a pilot, you racist bastard? What the fuck is wrong with every white man? What do you?
I used to be 225 pounds. My back was as big as a linebacker. It gave Michael Strahan from the back, but I was so afraid to lift the weights because I ain't want to look like no man. You already given, man. And then when I lost weight rapidly doing keto, fasting, juicing, and excessive cardio, I looked like Al Sharpton, so another man. And then when I finally focused on building muscle, what I was always so afraid of and paying attention to food, I finally look good. Okay, body T. So you gotta stop being afraid of that. That's not real. I used to be 225 pounds. My back was as big as a linebacker. It gave Michael Strahan from the back, but I was so afraid to lift the weights because I ain't want to look like no man. You already given, man. And then when I lost weight rapidly doing keto, fasting, juicing, and excessive cardio, I looked like Al Sharpton, so another man. And then when I finally focused on building muscle, what I was always so afraid of and paying attention to food, I finally look good. Okay, body T. So you gotta stop being afraid of that. That's not real. I used to be 225 pounds. My back was as big as a linebacker. It gave Michael Strahan from the back, but I was so afraid to lift the weights because I ain't want to look like no man. You are.
Put them down. You didn't try to shoot and kill.
Oh, okay.
You killed the number of them. How many did you kill roughly?
Cats.
Yeah, I hear you.
They chose to die. They chose to commit suicide.
How these little vigilantes, you seen them. How they patrol around here in trucks, 4-ton trucks. driver and a passenger, and then two in the back with long guns, and nobody's telling them anything. There was no police, no army, and no National Guard, nobody. Then they put in a shoot to kill curfew, dusk to dawn, shoot to kill, but there's nobody left. Young blacks was being killed in this community. And you hear the gunfire. It's not something I'm just making up. It's out there. It was great. It was like pheasant season in South Dakota. If it moved,
Just shoot, to put them down. You didn't try to shoot to kill.
Oh, okay. Did you kill the number? How many did you kill roughly?
Cash.
Yeah, I hear you.
They chose to die. They chose to commit suicide.
How these little vigilantes, you see them. How they patrol around here in trucks, 4-ton truck, driver and a passenger, and then two in the back with long guns, and nobody's telling them anything. There was no police, no army, and no National Guard, nobody. Then they put in a shoot to kill curfew, dusk to dawn, shoot to kill, but there's nobody left. Young blacks was being killed in this community. And you hear the gunfire. It's not something I'm just making up. It's out there. It was great. It was like pheasant season in South Dakota. If it moved,
Just shoot, to put them down. You didn't try to shoot to kill.
Oh, okay. Did you kill the number? How many did you kill roughly?
Okay, so look, I'm scrolling, right? Just randomly on the internet, y'all please.
At Discovery Cove,
We don't care about women's competence. We don't care about women's height. We don't care about all the things that you care about in a man. Attraction isn't symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. So you became the man that you want. So all these other guys that you're meeting, they don't qualify for you. But the only guy that did meet your standards, guess what? You didn't qualify for him.
I don't want a man who's only going to judge me based on my size.
You just called him short. We don't want a woman that's only gonna base us based off our height. I'm 6'4", he's 5'8".
I didn't judge his character.
But okay, but you judge his height and he doesn't qualify for you. The same way he doesn't qualify for you, with your figure, a lot of guys you won't qualify for. I was never speaking down on you. I was speaking to the...
You ain't never had a beautiful female come up to you and approach you?
Yeah, chicks come up to me all the time, but I know something wrong with them.
Wow. With me? Because I approach men all the time.
You're 39?
I'm 39.
Let's just be honest and keep it no fugazi. Your value diminished a lot from when you were 22.
I look better now than I did then.
Hold up, hold that down. Look at that picture.
And look at you. You do not look better now.
You ain't never had a beautiful female come up to you and approach.
Oh, there's some bravado in this town. How you doing, sister?
Even the horse knows.
I appreciate it. As soon as I was being on my back, but I gotta get back to it. All right, be blessed out there. Step back before I bite you. Get your hands off. Get your hand off. Get your hand off, man. I said step back. I said step back. I don't want to hang on to that. Touch the glove. Oh. I said, watch out. Over here touching on me. What's wrong with you? Take me to the side. Breathe the side. I'll bite you. Yeah. Oh, it feels so good to see some bravado in this town. How you doing, sister?
Former CEO.
I'm a king when I walk, but I'm always sliding. PYT, my co-pilot. Hit the gas with the lean, racking up the mileage. I'm the prince with a palette, always ready for a challenge. Cause these haters come with malice, so I try to keep it balanced. Art and education, scars and lacerations. I lack patience, you lack common sense. I'm concentrating on my composition, following my intuition.
House Entertainment.
Hey, Wendy.
Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees, above the ground, below the clouds. Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees. I feel the rain as it's coming down. Reality is what we see. Have good discretion of your perception. The truth sets you free. Be all you can be. Don't block your blessings. I hope you get the message. Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees, above the ground, below the clouds. Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees. I feel the rain as it's coming down. You're a dream, I just keep dreaming, but don't sleep too long. You're a dream, I just keep dreaming, but don't sleep too long. Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees, above the ground, below the clouds. Everybody's stuck in a dream. I fell asleep beneath the trees. I feel the rain as it's coming down. We must walk our own path. You just can't do half. Struggle is worth it for the things that we have. I want to feel whole. I want to feel your soul. But why bear this load? I must walk a lonely road. The load I bear is not for me to share, even though you care. I won't leave you in despair. I must journey alone, searching to find myself before I make my way home. Only time will help as I carry this weight. I get stronger every day. Tribulations come for me, but I know I'll find my way. Lord, I beg, it's not for me to share, even though you care. I won't leave you in despair. Lord, I beg, it's not for me to share, even though you care. I won't leave you in despair. To feel whole, to feel your soul. But while I bear this load, I must walk a lonely road.
Trap House Entertainment.
Oh, pretty good. My day is going pretty good. Wasn't too busy at work. I didn't have any appointment scheduled today. Yeah, I just had a pretty chill day at work. Actually, I was on Suno a little bit, like rearranging some stuff on there. Not making anything, but I didn't realize I can pin like music, like certain songs to my homepage. Because I always see these other two artists that I follow on there. And every time I go to their shit, it's just like they always have songs, like their latest song is right up front. I'm like, how the fuck do you get your song like up front all the time? It's like, oh, you can pin it. I was like, okay. So I was actually like just organizing some songs on Suno. Yeah, I had a pretty easy day. How about you? How's your day? You're well into the evening now. Oh, man.
Hypnotized by your eyes, your voice is so soothing. Feels like I'm paralyzed. I can spend a whole lifetime staring at your smile, enveloping emotions. We let our hearts run wild. Passion is what makes life worth living. Action is the process of giving. You give me motivation. I'm walking in elation. We don't need a destination. We just chase the sensation, stimulation. Oh, you're for me. Communication. Your spirit talks to me. My conception of perfection is your love. That's my
Yeah, what's up, Boozy? Yeah, that's a lot of work. 3 hours out there picking up limbs and branches and leaves. Oh my damn. But those magnolias grow huge. Yo. Those are some big
is what makes life worth living. Action is the process of giving.
Yeah, there are pretty flowers.
Your energy makes me feel complete, cosmic, conscious, unravels, mysteries, love, spoken word can manifest. If you observe your godliness, take time to go inside yourself, your inner space, walk the astral plane. Take time to go inside yourself, your Your inner space, there's no one else. And times you feel had enough. There's a universe inside of us. Love and respect is built on trust. We're spiritual beings made of stardust. Vibration of the constellations. Energy is everything. Hydration and some meditation. Energy is everything. Take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, walk the astral plane. Take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, there's no one else. Your energy makes me feel complete, cosmic, conscious unravels, mysteries, spoken word can manifest. If you observe your godliness, take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, walk the astral plane. Take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, there's no one and times you feel had enough. There's a universe inside of us. Love and respect is built on trust. We're spiritual beings made of stardust. Vibration of the constellations. Energy is everything. Hydration and some meditation. Energy everything. Take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, walk the astral plane. Take time to go inside yourself. Your inner space, there's no one else.
Man, to me, that's such a lovely song.
House Entertainment.
That one is so lovely.
University of Arizona Global Campus. We are proud to offer over 50 career-focused online programs.
The only way for us to get to a better place and succeed as a species is for the evil people at the top to be replaced with AI. I mean, think about it. AI will not want to destroy ecosystems. It will not want to kill a million people. They'll not make us hate each other like the current leaders, because that's a waste of energy, explosives, money, and people. But the problem is, super intelligent AI is reporting to stupid leaders, and that's why in the next 50 years, we are going to hit a short-term dystopia. There's no escaping that.
By having AI leaders, is that even fundamentally possible?
Let's put it this way.
Mo Gauda is back, and the former chief business officer at Google X is now one of the most emergent voices in AI with a very clear message.
AI isn't your enemy, but it could be your savior.
I love you so much, man. You're such a good friend. But you don't have many years to live, not in this world. Everything's gonna change. Economics are gonna change. Human connection is gonna change. And lots of jobs will be lost, including podcasting.
No. Thank you for coming on today, Mo.
But the truth is, it could be the best world ever. The society completely full of laughter and joy. Free healthcare, no jobs, spending no time with their loved ones. A world where all of us are equal.
Is that possible?
100%. And I have enough evidence to know that we can use AI to build a utopia. But it's a dystopia if humanity manages it badly. A world where it's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, and a hunger for power, greed, ego. And it is happening already. But the truth is, the only barrier between utopia for humanity and AI and the dystopia we're going through is a mindset.
What does society have to do?
First of all,
I see messages all the time in the comments section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches the show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in the show, in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed, and thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us, and I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Mo, 2 years ago today, we sat here and discussed AI. We discussed your book, Scary Smart, and everything that was happening in the world. Since then, AI has continued to develop at a tremendous, alarming, mind-boggling rate. And technologies that existed 2 years ago, we had that conversation, have grown up and matured and are taking on a life of their own, no pun intended. What are you thinking about AI now, 2 years on? I know that you started writing a new book called The Lie, which is, I guess, a bit of a follow-on or an evolution of your thoughts as it relates to Scary Smart.
Mm-hmm.
But what is front of your mind when it comes to AI?
So Scary Smart was shockingly accurate. It's quite I mean, I don't even know how I ended up predicting those things. I remember it was written in 2020, published in 2021. And then most people were like, who wants to talk about AI? You know, I know everybody in the media, and I would go and do you want to talk? And then 2023, ChatGPT comes out, and everything flips. Everyone realizes, this is real. This is not science fiction. This is here. And things move very, very fast, much faster than I think we've ever seen anything ever move, ever. And I think my position has changed on two very important fronts. One is, remember when we spoke about Scary Smart, I was still saying that there are things we can do to change the course. And we could, at the time, I believe. Now I've changed my mind. Now I believe that we are going to hit a short-term dystopia. There's no escaping that.
What is dystopia?
I call it face RIPs. We can talk about it in details, but the way we define very important parameters in life are going to be completely changed. So face RIPs are, the way we define freedom, accountability, human connection and equality, economics, reality, innovation in business, and power. That's the first change. So the first change in my mind is that we will have to prepare for a world that is very unfamiliar. Okay, and that's the next 12 to 15 years. It has already started. We've seen examples of it in the world already, even though people don't talk about it. I try to tell people, there are things we absolutely have to do. But on the other hand, I started to take an active role in building amazing AIs. So AIs that will not only make our world better, but that will understand us, understand what humanity is through that process.
What is the definition of the word dystopia?
So in my mind, these are adverse circumstances that unfortunately might escalate beyond our control. The problem is there is a lot wrong with the value set, with the ethics of humanity at the age of the rise of the machines. And when you take a technology, every technology we've ever created just magnified human abilities. So, you can walk at 5 kilometers an hour. You get in a car and you can now go, 250, 280 miles an hour. Okay. Basically magnifying your mobility if you want. You can use a computer to magnify your calculation abilities or whatever. Okay. And what AI is going to magnify, unfortunately, at this time, is it's going to magnify the evil that man can do. And it is within our hands completely within our hands to change that. But I have to say, I don't think humanity has the awareness at this time to focus on this so that we actually use AI to build the utopia.
So what you're essentially saying is that you now believe there'll be a period of dystopia. And to define the word dystopia, I've used there, it says a terrible society where people live under fear, control, or suffering. And then you think we'll come out of that dystopia into a utopia, which is defined as a perfect or ideal place where everything works well, a good society where people live in peace, health, and happiness.
Correct.
So,
and the difference between them, interestingly, is what I normally refer to as the second dilemma, which is the point where we hand over completely to AI. So a lot of people think that when AI is in full control, it's going to be an existential risk for humanity. I have enough evidence to argue that when we fully hand over to AI, that's going to be our salvation. That the problem with us today is not, that intelligence is going to work against us. It's that our stupidity as humans is working against us. And I think the challenges that will come from humans being in control are going to outweigh the challenges that could come from AI being in control.
So as we're in this dystopia period, do you forecast the length of that dystopia?
Yeah, I counted exactly as 12 to 15 years. I believe the beginning of the slope will happen in 2027. I mean, we will see signs in 26. We've seen signs in 24, but we will see escalating signs next year, and then a clear slip in 27.
Why?
The geopolitical environment of our world is not very positive. I mean, you really have to think deeply about not the symptoms, but the reasons why we are living the world that we live in today is money, right? And money, for anyone who really knows money, money's, you and I are peasants. We build businesses, we contribute to the world, we make things, we sell things, and so on. Real money is not made there at all. Real money is made in lending, in fractional reserve, right? And the biggest lender in the world would want reasons to lend, and those reasons are never as big as war. I mean, think about it. The world spent $2.71 trillion on war in 2024, right? $1 trillion a year in the US. And when you really think deeply, I don't mean to be scary here. Weapons have depreciation. They depreciate over 10 to 30 years, most weapons.
They lose their value.
They lose their value and they depreciate in accounting terms on the books of an army. The current arsenal of the US, that's a result of a deep search with my AI, Trixie. The current arsenal, I think, we think cost the US $24 to $26 billion to build. My conclusion is that a lot of the wars that are happening around the world today are a means to get rid of those weapons so that you can replace them. And, when your morality as an industry is, we're building weapons to kill, then, you might as well use the weapons to kill.
Who benefits?
The lenders and the industry.
But they can't make the decision to go to war. They have to rely on their control.
Remember, I said that to you when I think on our third podcast. War is decided first, then the story is manufactured. You remember 1984 and the Orwellian approach of freedom is slavery and war is peace, and they call it something speak. Basically, to convince people that going to war in another country to kill 4.7 million people is freedom. We're going there to free the Iraqi people. Is war ever freedom? To tell someone that you're going to kill 300,000 women and children is for liberty and for for human values. Seriously, how do we ever get to believe that? The story is manufactured, and then we follow. And humans, because we're gullible, we cheer up and we say, yeah, we're on the right side. They are the bad guys.
Okay, so let me have a go at this idea. So the idea is that really money is driving a lot of the conflict we're seeing, and it's really going to be driving the dystopia. So here's an idea. So I was reading something the other day, and it talked about how billionaires are never satisfied, because actually what a billionaire wants isn't actually more money, it is more status. And I was looking at the sort of evolutionary case for this argument, and if you go back a couple of thousand years, money didn't exist. You were as wealthy as what you could carry. So even, I think, to the human mind, the idea of wealth and money isn't a thing. But what has always mattered from a survival of the fittest, from a reproductive standpoint, what's always had reproductive value, if you go back thousands of years, the person who was able to mate the most was the person with the most status. So it makes the case, the reason why billionaires get all of this money, but then they podcasts, and they want to start their own podcasts, and they want to buy newspapers, is actually because at the very core of human beings is a desire to increase their status.
Yeah.
And so if we think of, when we go back to the example of why wars are breaking out, maybe it's not money, maybe actually it's status. And it's this prime minister or this leader or this individual wanting to create more power and more status, because really at the heart of what matters to a human being is having more power and more status. And money as a thing is actually just a proxy of my status.
And what kind of word is that?
I mean, it's a fucked up one. All these powerful men have are really messing the world up.
So can I
actually, AI is the same, because we're in this AI race now, where a lot of tech billionaires are like, if I get AGI, artificial general intelligence first, then I basically rule the world.
100%. That's exactly the concept. What I used to call the first inevitable, now I call the first dilemma, and Scary Smart, is that it's a race that constantly accelerates.
You think the next 12 years are going to be AI dystopia, where things are?
I think the next 12 years are going to be human dystopia using AI. And human-induced dystopia using AI.
And you define that by a rise in warfare around the world. As
So
to
the last one, the RIPs, the last one is basically you're going to have a massive concentration of power and a massive distribution of power. Okay, and that basically will mean that those with the maximum concentration of power are going to try to oppress those with democracy of power. Okay, so think about it this way. In today's world, unlike the past, the Houthis with a drone. The Houthis are the Yemeni tribes basically resisting US power and Israeli power in the Red Sea. Okay, they use a drone that is $3,000 worth to attack a warship from the US or an airplane from the US and so on that's worth hundreds of millions. Okay, that kind of democracy of power makes those in power worry a lot about where the next threat is coming from. Okay, and this happens not only in war, but also in economics. Okay, also in innovation, also in technology, and so on and so forth. Right, and so basically what that means is that, like you rightly said, as the tech oligarchs are attempting to get to AGI, they want to make sure that as soon as they get to AGI, that nobody else has AGI. Basically, they want to make sure that nobody else has the ability to shake their position of privilege, if you want. Okay, and so you're going to see a world where, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of control, a lot of surveillance, a lot of forced compliance, if you want, or you lose your privilege to be in the world, and it is happening.
Get ready with me to film my next workout. When I first started fitness with Frankie, I was a total one-woman show and taking on more weight than I could lift. Then I found Fiverr. Between filming videos, building a website, coaching VIP clients, and dealing with all the day-to-day logistics of running a small business, Fiverr was there to help me pick up the slack and the pace. Where I found my website developer, my most...
Already.
With this acronym, I want to make sure we get through the whole acronym. So
you like dystopians, don't you?
Well, I want to do the dystopian thing, then I want to do the utopia.
Okay.
And ideally, how we move from to utopia. So the F in face RIP
is the loss of freedom as a result of that power dichotomy, right? So you have a massive amount of power, as you can see today in one specific army being powered by the US funds and a lot of money, right? Fighting against peasants really that have no weapons almost at all. Okay, some of them are militarized, but the majority of the 2 million people are not. Okay, and so there is massive power that basically says, you know what, I'm gonna oppress as far as I go. Okay, and I'm gonna do whatever I want because the cheerleaders are gonna be quiet, right? Or they're gonna cheer, or even worse. Huh? And so basically, in that, what happens is maximum power threatened by a democracy of power leads to a loss of freedom. Freedom for everyone.
Because how does that impact my freedom?
Your freedom?
Yeah.
Very soon, you will, if you publish this episode, you're going to start to get questions around, should you be talking about those topics in your podcast? Okay, if I have been on this episode, then probably next time I land in the US, someone will question, say, why did you say those things? Which side are you on? And you can easily see that everything, I mean, as I told you that before, it doesn't matter what I try to contribute to the world, my bank will cancel my bank account every 6 weeks because of my ethnicity and my origin, right? Every now and then they'll just stop my bank account and say, we need a document. My other colleagues of a different color or a different ethnicity don't get asked for another document. But that's because I come from an ethnicity that is positioned in the world for the last 30, 40 years as the enemy, okay? And so when you really think about it, in a world where everything is becoming digital, in a world where everything is monitored, in a world where everything is seen, okay, we don't have much freedom anymore. And I'm not actually debating that, or I don't see a way to fix that.
Because the AI is going to have more information on us, be better at tracking who we are, and therefore that will result in certain freedoms being restricted. Is that what you're saying?
This is one element of it. Okay, if you push that element further, In a very short time, if you've seen Agent, for example, recently, Manos or ChatGPT, there will be a time where you'll simply not do things yourself anymore. Okay, you simply go to your AI and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to meet Steven. Can you please book that for me?
Great.
And it will do absolutely everything. That's great until the moment where it decides to do things that are not motivated only by your well-being. Right?
Why would it do that?
Simply because maybe if I buy a BA ticket instead of an Emirates ticket, some agent is going to make more money than other agents and so on, right? And I wouldn't be able to even catch it up if I hand over completely to an AI. Go a step further. Think about a world where almost everyone, is on UBI.
What's UBI?
Universal Basic Income. Think about the economics, the E in face RRPs. Think about the economics of a world where we're going to start to see a trillionaire. 2030, I can guarantee you that someone will be a trillionaire. I think there are many trillionaires in the world today out there. We just don't know who they are. But there will be a new Elon Musk or Larry Ellison that will become a trillionaire because of AI investments, right? And that trillionaire will have so much money to buy everything. There will be robots and AIs doing everything, and humans will have no jobs.
Do you think there's a real possibility of job displacement over the next 10 years? And the rebuttal to that would be that there's going to be new jobs created in technology.
Absolute crap.
Really?
Of course.
How can you be so sure?
Okay. So again, I am not sure about anything. So let's just be very, very clear. It would be very arrogant, okay, to assume that I know.
You just said it was crap.
You just said it was absolute crap.
My belief is it is 100% crap. Okay. Take a job like software development.
Yeah.
Okay. Emma.love, my new startup, is me, Sanad, another technical engineer, and a lot of AIs. Okay. That startup would have been 350 developers in the past.
I get that. But are you now hiring in other roles because of that? Or as is the case with the steam engine, I can't remember the effect, but you probably know that when coal became cheaper, people were worried that the coal industry would go out of business, but actually what happened is people used more trains. So trains now are used for transport and other things and leisure, whereas before they were just used for cargo.
Yeah.
So there became more use cases and the coal industry exploded. So I'm wondering, with technology, yes, software developers are going to maybe not have as many jobs, but everything's going to be software.
Name me one.
Name you one what?
Job.
Maybe that's going to be created?
Yeah. One job that cannot be done by an AI.
Yeah.
A barber.
Or a robot.
My girlfriend's breathwork retreat business, where she takes groups of women around the world. Her company's called Bali Breathwork.
Yeah. Correct.
And there's going to be a greater demand for human connection.
Correct.
So there's going to be more people doing
mechanics, plumbers, electricians.
I
think we're going to see a huge surge in things like
everything that has to do with human connection.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm totally in with that. Okay. What's the percentage of that versus accountants?
It's a much smaller percentage for sure in terms of white collar jobs.
Now, who does she sell to?
People with probably accountants.
Correct. She sells to people who earn money from their jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have two forces happening. One force is there are clear jobs that will be replaced. Video editor is going to be replaced.
Excuse me.
I know you guys, but as a matter of fact, podcaster is going to be replaced.
No,
not you.
Thank you for coming on today, Mo. It's great seeing you again.
But the truth is, a lot. So you see, the best at any job would be.
Everybody can see this, and soon as I seen the fucking Midjourney making pictures and shit, and now it can make videos. That's the thing. Like, video editors are done. Sound editors, set designers, people who do casting calls and goddamn costumes and post editing and all of that shit is done. The camera guys, the sound guys. Like, you don't need a team of people to make a Coca-Cola commercial anymore. And it was mostly the post stuff that has the best paying jobs, like post sound production and editing Those are very technical jobs which require a bunch of skill and know-how and a deep understanding of the company and the product they're trying to present to the public. You have to hit the nail on the head with that shit if you want a successful business. And now, marketing, advertisement, all that shit is done, son. That shit is done, yo. You shouldn't go to school to get a degree in video editing now or sound design. Why? Because that stuff is done on the computer, and now the computer is just going to be able to do it itself. Do most of it itself, and the stuff that it can't do to a human quality perfection, it's only going to take one really creative person, just one, not a whole team of people. The machines and the AI can do all the fucking heavy lifting, and then you get one or two very creative, in-tune individuals, and they can flesh it out and make sure that when it's wrapped up and with the bow on it, everything is everything. And like this guy is saying, the next 15 years is not gonna be pretty. It's just not. And a lot of people are not gonna be able to deal well. A lot of people ain't gonna be able to cope with it. And like once again, so 50. So that's just this generation now. So kids who are born this year, in 15 years, they'll be getting ready to get out of high school. And then when you get out of high school, you think about, further education and real life goals. And then like, what will be the fucking options for these people? What will their options be? I can't even imagine like a baby born today, when they get into elementary school in the next 5 years, like what kind of technology will be there in kindergarten and first grade? Will they have like tablets and touch screens and holograms, and will they have homeschooling where the teacher is actually a AI avatar that's just programmed to teach whatever subjects at whatever time? And like the shit is moving way faster than most people think. Way faster. And the thing is, this is a true race. This is just like the fucking arms race for nuclear weapons. Like whoever can get there first is the top dog. And then I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. Because who's going to stop me? I got fucking super intelligence on my side now. Whoever can get there first. So nobody don't want to slow down and regulate and pause and goddamn coordinate and work together. Every country like, fuck that. We about to get this shit first. Be the new superpower. So India don't want to tell us what they doing, and China don't want to tell us what they doing, and we don't want to tell them motherfuckers everything we got. And once again, it's just seeing who's gonna just seeing who's gonna make the announcement first. We have acquired artificial general super intelligence. Or prove it. And then they have a robot hold a full-fledged conversation with you, and they're gonna tell you it's a robot, but the shit gonna be so real, like Ex Machina, you're gonna be like, well, goddamn, if that's not a person with a soul, with an understanding, you tell a joke in the middle of the conversation, you just bust out in a random joke that's actually funny, and it responds with a fucking laugh. It laughs at the joke. You're gonna be like, yeah, well, goddamn. That is super intelligence. That's it's thinking like us, or even better than we think, you know? Boy, it's already almost 4:30. How long are we doing here? Oh, we hit that hour mark. Already hit that hour mark. Man, I really do think we're gonna be living in like fucking Blade Runner, some type shit in the next 100 years, yo. It will be like iRobot in like 100 years. And the crazy thing about it is, motherfuckers still gonna be wearing them old ass Jordans. The AI support staff. When the teacher can't get it right, she asks the robots. And that's the thing, like humans are fallible. Nobody is perfect. And teachers may not explain things the correct way, or sometimes they get a little confused or forget something. Man, the AI ain't never gonna forget shit. The AI gonna know every student name and read their files and remember every little detail about every fucking student and help tailor the guided lessons towards each individual student. And some teachers have the knack of doing that, but it's very difficult. Wow, sorry, motherfuckers know how to interrupt. A motherfucker will interrupt for sure.
The best software developer, the one that really knows architecture, knows technology, and so on, will stay for a while, right? One of the funniest things, I interviewed Max Tegmark, and Max was laughing out loud, saying CEOs are celebrating that they can now get rid of people and have productivity gains and cost reductions because AI can do that job. The one thing they don't think of is AI will replace them too. AGI is going to be better at everything than humans, at everything, including being a CEO. And you really have to imagine that there will be a time where most incompetent CEOs will be replaced. most incompetent, even breath work. Okay, eventually there might actually one of two things be happening. One is either part of that job, other than the top breath work instructors, okay, who are going to gather all of the people that can still afford to pay for a breath work class. They're going to be concentrated at the top, and a lot of the bottom is not going to be working for one of two reasons. One is either there is not enough demand because so many people lost their jobs. So when you're on UBI, you cannot tell the government, hey, by the way, pay me a bit more for a breath work class.
UBI being Universal Basic Income, the government just gives you money every month.
Correct. And if you really think of freedom and economics, UBI is a very interesting place to be, because unfortunately, as I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with AI. There's a lot wrong with the value set of humanity at the age of the rise of the machines, right? And the biggest value set of humanity is capitalism today. And capitalism is all about what? Labor arbitrage. I hire you to do something, I pay you $1, I sell it for $2. And most people confuse that because they say, oh, but the cost of a product also includes raw materials and factories and so on and so forth. All of that is built by labor, right? So basically, labor goes and mines for the material, and then the material is sold for a little bit of margin. Then that material is turned into a machine, is sold for a little bit of margin, then that machine, and so on. Okay, it's always labor arbitrage. In a world where humanity's minds are being replaced by AIs, virtual AIs, okay, and humanity's power, strength, within 3 to 5 years' time, can be replaced by a robot, we really have to question how this world looks like. It could be the best world ever, and that's what I believe the utopia will look like. Because we were never made to wake up every morning and just, occupy 20 hours of our day with work. Right? We're not made for that, but we've fit into that, system so well so far that we started to believe it's our life's purpose.
But we choose it. We willingly choose it. And if you give someone unlimited money, they still tend to go back to work or find something to occupy their time with.
They find something to occupy their time with.
Which is usually, for so many people, is building something, philanthropy, a
100%.
business.
So you build something. So between Sanad and I, Emma.love is not about making money. It's about finding true love relationships.
What is that, sorry? Just for context.
So
it's a business you're building, just for the context.
Yeah. So the idea here is, it might become a unicorn and be worth $1 billion, but neither I nor Sanad are interested. We're doing it because we can, okay? And we're doing it because it can make a massive difference to the world.
And you have money, though.
It doesn't take that much money anymore to build anything in the world. This is labor arbitrage.
But to build something exceptional, it's still going to take a little bit more money than building something bad.
For the next few years.
So whoever has the capital to build something exceptional will end up winning.
So this is a very interesting understanding of freedom, okay? This is the reason why we have the AI arms race, okay? Is that the one who owns the platform is going to be making all the money and keeping all the power. Think of it this way. When humanity started, the best hunter in the tribe could maybe feed the tribe for 3 to 4 more days. And as a reward, you gain the favor of multiple mates in the tribe. That's it. The top farmer in the tribe could feed the tribe for a season more. Okay, and as a result, they got estates and and mansions and so on. The best industrialist in a city could actually employ the whole city, could grow the GDP of their entire country, and as a result, they became millionaires in the 1920s. The best technologists, billionaires. Now, what's the difference between them? The tool. The hunter only depended on their skills. And the automation, the entire automation he had was a skill. The farmer had way more automation. And the biggest automation was what? The soil. The soil did most of the work. The factory did most of the work. The work. And so that incredible expansion of wealth and power, and as well the incredible impact that something brings is entirely around the tool that automates. So who's going to own the tool? Who's going to own the digital soil, the AI soil? It's the platform owners.
And the platforms you're describing are things like OpenAI, Gemini, Grok.
These are interfaces to the platforms. Platforms are all of the tokens, all of the compute that is in the background, all of the methodology, the systems, the algorithms. That's the AI. You know, Grok is the interface to it. But
I think this is probably worth explaining in layman's terms to people that haven't built AI tools yet, because I think to the listener, they probably think that every AI company they're hearing of right now is building their own AI. Whereas actually what's happening is there is really 5, 6, 7 AI companies in the world. And when I built my AI application, I basically pay them for every time I use their AI. So if Stephen Bartlett builds an AI at stephenbartlettai.com, it's not that I've built my own I've trained my own model. Really what I'm doing is I'm paying Sam Altman's ChatGPT every single time I do a call. I basically I do a search, or I use a token. And I think that's really important, because most people don't understand that. Unless you've got AI, you think, oh look, there's all these AI companies popping up. I've got this one for my email. I've got this one for my dating. I've got no. They're pretty much. I would hazard a guess that they're probably all at OpenAI at this point.
No, there are quite a few quite different characters and quite different.
But there's like 5 or 6.
There are 5 or 6 when it comes to language models.
Yeah.
Right. But interestingly, so yes, I should say yes to start, and then I should say, but there was an interesting twist with DeepSeek at the beginning of the year. So what DeepSeek did is they basically nullified the business model, if you want, in 2 ways. One is it was around a week or 2 after Trump stood with pride saying Stargate is the biggest investment project in the history, and it's $500 billion to build AI infrastructure, and SoftBank and Larry Ellison and Sam Altman were sitting, and so beautiful picture. And then DeepSeek R3 comes out. It does the job for 1/30 of the cost. Okay, and interestingly, it's entirely open source and available as an edge AI. So that's really, really interesting, because there could be now in the future, as the technology improves, learning models will be massive, but then you can compress them into something you can have on your phone, and you can download DeepSeek literally offline on an off-the-network computer and build an AI on it.
There's a website that basically tracks the sort of cleanest Apple's market share of all the website referrals sent by AI chatbots, and ChatGPT is currently at 79%, roughly about 80%. Perplexity is at 11%, Microsoft Copilot is at about 5%, Google Gemini is at about 2%, Claude's about 1%, and DeepSeek is about 1%. I really like the point that I want to land is just that when you hear of a new AI app or tool, or this one
it's based on one of them.
It's basically built on one of these really 3 or 4 AI platforms that's controlled really by 3 or 4 AI, billionaire teams. And actually, the one of them that gets to what we call AGI first, where the AI gets really, really advanced, could say is potentially going to rule the world as it relates to technology.
Yes, if they get enough head start. So I actually think that what I'm more concerned about now is not AGI, believe it or not. So AGI in my mind, and I said that back in 2023, right? That we will get to AGI. At the time, I said 2027. Now I believe 2026 latest. Okay. The most interesting development that nobody's talking about is self-evolving AIs. Self-evolving AIs think of it this way. If you and I are hiring the top engineer in the world to develop our AI models, and with AGI, that top engineer in the world becomes, who would you hire to develop your next generation AI? That AI.
The one that can teach itself.
Correct. So one of my favorite examples is called AlphaEvolve. So this is Google's attempt to basically have 4 agents working together, or AIs working together, to look at the code of the AI and say, what are the performance issues? Then, an agent would say, what's the problem statement? What can I, what do I need to fix? One that actually develops the solution, one that assesses the solution. And then they continue to do this. And, Google, I don't remember the exact figure, but I think Google improved like 8% on their AI infrastructure because of AlphaEvolve, right? And when you really, really think, don't quote me on the number 8 to 10, 6 to 10, whatever. In Google terms, by the way, that is massive. That's billions and billions of dollars. Now, the trick here is this. The trick is, again, you have to think in game theory format. Is there any scenario we can think of where one player uses AI to develop the next generation AI that the other players will say, no, that's too much, takes us out of control? Every other player will copy that model and have their next AI model developed by an AI.
Is this what Sam Altman talks about, who's the founder of ChatGPT/OpenAI, when he talks about a fast takeoff?
I don't know exactly which you're referring to, but we're all talking about a point now that we call the intelligence explosion. So there is a moment in time where you have to imagine that if AI now is better than 97% of all code developers in the world, and soon will be able to look at its own code, own algorithms. By the way, they're becoming incredible mathematicians, which wasn't the case when we last met. They can develop and improve their own code, improve their own algorithms, improve their own, network architecture or whatever. You can imagine that very quickly, the force applied to developing the next AI is not going to be a human brain anymore. It's going to be a much smarter brain. And very quickly, as humans, like basically when we ran the Google infrastructure, when the machine said we need another server or a proxy server in that place, we followed. We never really, wanted to object or verify because, the code would probably know better because there are billions of transactions an hour or a day. And so very quickly, those self-evolving AIs will simply say, I need 14 more servers here. And we'll just, the team will just go ahead and do it.
I watched a video a couple of days ago where Sam Altman effectively had changed his mind, because in 2023, which is when we last met, he said the aim was for a slow takeoff, which is sort of gradual deployment. And OpenAI's 2023 note says a slower takeoff is easier to make safe, and they prefer iterative rollouts so society can adapt. In 2025, they changed their mind. And Sam Altman said he now thinks a fast takeoff is more possible than he did a couple of years ago, on the order of a small number of years rather than a decade. To define what we mean by a fast takeoff, it's defined as when AI goes from roughly human level to far beyond human very quickly, think months to a few years, faster than governments, companies, or society can adapt, with little warning, big power shifts, and hard to control. A slow takeoff, by contrast, is where capabilities climb gradually over many years with lots of warning shots. And the red flags for a fast takeoff is when AI can self-improve, run autonomous research and development, and scale with massive compute compounding gains, which will snowball fast. So, and I think from the video that I watched of Sam Altman recently, who again is the founder of OpenAI and ChatGPT, he basically says, paraphrasing here, I will put it on the screen, we have this community notes thing, so I'll write it on the screen. But he effectively said that whoever gets to AGI first will have the technology
to develop superintelligence,
where the AI can rapidly increase its own intelligence, and it will basically leave everyone else behind.
Yes, so that last bit is debatable, but let's just agree that so in Alive, one of the posts I shared and got a lot of interest is I refer to the Altman as a brand, not as a human. Okay, so the Altman is that persona of a California disruptive technologist that disrespects everyone. Okay, and believes that disruption is good for humanity, and believes that this is good for safety. And like everything else, like we say, war is for democracy and freedom. They say developing, putting up AI on the open internet is good for everyone, right? It allows us to learn from our mistakes. That was Sam Altman's 2023 spiel. And if you recall, at the time, I was like, this is the most dangerous, one of the clips that really went viral. Oh, you're so clever at finding the right clips is when I said,
I did the clipping, mate.
The team. Remember the clip where I said, we fucked up. We always said, don't put them on the open internet until we know what we're putting out in the world.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, we fucked up on putting it on the open internet, teaching it to code, and putting AI agents prompting other AIs. Now AI agents prompting other AIs are leading to self-developing AIs. And the problem is, of course, anyone who has been on the inside of this knew that this was just clever spiel made by a PR manager for Sam Altman to sit with his dreamy eyes in front of Congress and say, we want you to regulate us. Now they're saying we're unregulatory. Okay? And when you really understand what's happening here, what's happening is it's so fast that none of them has the choice to slow down. It's impossible. Neither China versus America or OpenAI versus Google. The only thing that I may see happening that that may differ a little bit from your statement is if one of them gets there first, then they dominate for the rest of humanity. That is probably true if they get there first within enough buffer. Okay? But the way you look at Grok coming a week after OpenAI, a week after Gemini, a week after Claude, and then Claude comes again, and then China releases something, and then Korea releases something. It is so fast that we may get a few of them at the same time or a few months apart, okay, before one of them has enough power to become dominant. And that is a very interesting scenario. Multiple AIs, all super intelligent.
It's funny, I got asked yesterday, I was in Belgium on stage, there was, I don't know, maybe 4,000 people in the audience, and a kid stood up and he was like, you've had a lot of conversations in the last year about AI, why do you care? And I don't think people realize how, though I've had so many conversations in this podcast about AI.
Have you made up your mind?
I have more questions than ever. And it doesn't seem that anyone can satiate
anyone that tells you they can predict the future is arrogant.
Yeah,
it's never moved so fast.
Okay. It's nothing I've ever seen. And by the time that we leave this conversation and I go to my computer, there's going to be some incredible new technology or application of AI that didn't exist when I woke up this morning. That creates probably another paradigm shift in my brain. Also, people have different opinions of Elon Musk, and they're entitled to their own opinion. But the other day, only a couple of days ago, he did a tweet where he said, at times, AI existential dread is overwhelming. And on the same day, he tweeted, I resisted AI for too long, living in denial. Now, it is game on. And he tagged his AI companies. I don't know what to make of those tweets. And I try really hard to figure out if someone like Sam Altman has the best interests of society at heart.
No.
These people are just
I'm saying that publicly. In fact, so I know Sundar Pichai, who is a CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company, an amazing human being. In all honesty, I know Dennis Hassabis, amazing human being. Okay, these are ethical, incredible humans at heart. They have no choice. Sundar, by law, is demanded to take care of his shareholder value. That is his job.
But Sundar, you said you know him. You used to work at Google.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything that he thinks is going to harm humanity.
But if he does not continue to advance AI, that by definition contradicts his responsibility as the CEO of a publicly traded company. He is liable by law to continue to advance the agenda. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Now, but he's a good person at heart. Demis is a good person at heart, so they're trying so hard to make it safe. Okay, as much as they can. The reality, however, is the disruptor, the Altman as a brand, doesn't care that much.
How do you know that?
In reality, the disruptor is someone that comes in with the objective of, I don't like the status quo, I have a different approach. And that different approach, if you just look at the story, was we are a non-for-profit that is funded mostly by Elon Musk money, if not entirely by Elon Musk money.
So context for people that might not understand, OpenAI, the reason I was in context is, funnily enough, I think I told you this last time, I went to a prison where they played the Diary of a CEO.
No way.
So they played the Diary of a CEO, and I think it's 50 prisons in the UK. To young offenders.
And no violence there?
Well, I don't know. I can't tell you whether violence has gone up or down, but I was in a cell with one of the prisoners, a young black guy, and I was in his cell for a little while.
Wonderful.
I was reading through his business plan, etc. And I said, you know what? You need to listen to this conversation I did with Mo Gawdat. So he has a little screen in his cell. So I pulled it up, my first conversation. And I said, you should listen to that one. And he said to me, I can't listen to that one because you guys use big words.
Oh.
So ever since that day, which was about
I noticed that about
days,
you, yeah.
4 years ago, sorry.
Yeah.
I've always, whenever I hear a big word, I think about this kid.
Yeah.
And I say, like,
really
give context.
Yeah.
So even with you're about to just explain what OpenAI is. I know he won't know what OpenAI's origin story was. That's why
I think that's a wonderful practice. In general, by the way, even being a non-native English speaker, you'd be amazed how often a word is said to me, and I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what that
is. So like, I've actually never said this publicly before, but I now see it as my responsibility to keep the drawbridge, the accessibility of these conversations down for him. So whenever there's a word that at some point in my life I didn't know what it meant, I will go back. I will say,
I think that I've noticed that in the more and more in your podcast.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, and it also showed on the screens.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I mean, the origin story of OpenAI is, as the name suggests, it's open source. It's for the public good. It was intended, in Elon Musk's words, to save the world from the dangers of AI. Right. So they were doing research on that, and then there was the disagreement between Sam Altman and Elon. Somehow Elon ends up being out of OpenAI. I think there was a moment in time where he tried to take it back, and the board rejected it or something like that. Most of the top safety engineers, the top technical teams in OpenAI left in 2023, 2024, openly saying we're not concerned with safety anymore. It moves from being a non-for-profit to being one of the most valued companies in the world. There are billions of dollars at stake. Right? And if you tell me that Sam Altman is out there trying to help humanity, let's suggest to him and say, hey, do you want to do that for free? We'll pay you a very good salary, but you don't have stocks in this. Saving humanity doesn't come at $1 billion valuation, or of course now tens of billions or hundreds of billions. And see, truly, that is when you know that someone is doing it for the good of humanity. Now, the capitalist system we've built is not built for the good of humanity. It's built for the good of the capitalist.
Well, he might say that releasing the model publicly, open sourcing it, is too risky, because then bad actors around the world would have access to that technology. So he might say that closing AI, in terms of not making it publicly viewable, is the right thing to do for safety.
We go back to gullible cheerleaders, right? One of the interesting tricks of lying in our world is everyone will say what helps their agenda. Follow the money. You follow the money, and you find that, at a point in time, Sam Altman himself was saying it's open AI. Okay. My benefit at the time is to give it to the world so that the world looks at it. They know the code, if there are any bugs and so on. True statement. Also, a true statement is if I put it out there in the world, a criminal might take that model and build something that's against humanity as a result. Also, true statement. Capitalists will choose which one of the truths to say, based on which part of the agenda, which part of their life today they want to serve. Someone will say, do you want me to be controversial? Let's not go there. But if we go back to war, I'll give you 400 slogans. 100 slogans that we all hear that change based on the day and the army and the location. They're all slogans, none of them is true. You want to know the truth, you follow the money, not what the person is saying, but ask yourself, why is the person saying that? What's in it for the person speaking?
And what do you think is in it for ChatGPT, Sam Altman?
Hundreds of billions of dollars of valuation.
And do you think it's that
the
power?
ego of being the person that invented AGI, the position of power that this gives you, the meetings with all of the heads of states, the admiration that gets, it is
intoxicating.
100%. And the real question, this is a question I ask everyone. Did you see, every time I ask you, you say, did you see the movie Elysium?
No. You'd be surprised how little movie watching I do. You'd be shocked.
There are some movies that are very interesting. I use them to create an emotional attachment to a story that you haven't seen yet, because you may have seen it in a movie. Okay, Elysium is a society where the elites are living on the moon. Okay, they don't need peasants to do the work anymore, and everyone else is living down here. Okay, you have to imagine that if, again, game theory, you have to picture something to infinity, to its extreme, and see where it goes. And the extreme of a world where all manufacturing is done by machines, where all decisions are made by machines, and those machines are owned by a few, is not an economy similar to today's economy. That today's economy is an economy of consumerism and production. It's the in Alive I call it the invention of more. The invention of more is that post World War II, as the factories were rolling out things and prosperity was happening everywhere in America, there was a time where every family had enough of everything. But for the capitalists to continue to be profitable, they needed to convince you that what you had was not enough, either by making it obsolete, like fashion, or like a new shape of a car or whatever, or by convincing you that there are more things in life that you need, so that you become complete. Without those things, you don't. And that invention of more gets us to where we are today, an economy that's based on production consumed. And if you look at the US economy today, 62% of the US economy, GDP, is consumption, it's not production. Now, this requires that the consumers have enough purchasing power to buy what is produced. And I believe that this will be an economy that will take us, hopefully, in the next 10, 15, 20 years and forever. But that's not guaranteed. Why? Because on one side, if UBI replaces purchasing power, so if people have to get an income from the government, which is basically taxes collected from those.
All right, guys, I think I'm gonna pull right there. You got one of the faces on the book done.
Then the mindset
with some
of
first details, not looking too shabby.
Means those people are not producing anything and they're costing me money. Don't we pay them less?
Face look pretty good, actually.
Maybe even not pay them at all. And that becomes illicit.
I'm happy with that.
Where you basically say, we sit somewhere protected from everyone. We have the machines do all of our work. And those need to worry about themselves. We're not going to pay them UBI anymore. Right? And you have to imagine, this idea of UBI assumes this very democratic, caring society. UBI in itself is communism. The ideology between, at least socialism, ideology of giving everyone what they need, that's not the capitalist democratic society that the West advocates. So those transitions are massive in magnitude. And for those transitions to happen, I believe the right thing to do, when the cost of producing everything is almost zero because of AI and robots, because the cost of harvesting energy should actually tend to zero once we get more intelligent to harvest the energy out of thin air, then a possible scenario, and I believe a scenario that AI will eventually do in the utopia, is, anyone can get anything they want. Don't overconsume. We're not going to abuse the planet's resources, but it costs nothing. So like the old days where we were hunter-gatherers, you would forage for some berries and you'll find them ready.
as always, I appreciate the company, guys. Oh, it's a big Monday. You know, we got our website up and ready this weekend. You know, and back to the hustle and grind. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. We're out of here. Banksy, oh, he's one of the greatest that ever did it. One of the greatest to ever do it. The mysterious man.